Hey, and we're live. Well, not really. We're recording, but you'll get to watch us later on. We are back here after a slight hiatus, very short hiatus. To reconvene our Circle of Hands experiment, where Circle of Hands by Ron Edwards on Adept Press, where each of us is running 2 sessions. So Anthony's already run his 2 sessions. This is session number 4, the second that I've run. And then Eloy gets to run a couple sessions. We made our pool of characters. Yeah, it'll be fine. Don't look like that. It'll be fine. You know, with the brief period of time we take between each episode,
it should be fine. It should be fine.
So here we are, and so I'm going to introduce the location and the lowest number component, as is customary, and then you will choose your Circle Knights. So today, what do you know? What you know is that there is a town in Spur, near the coast of Rolke, or near the border of Rolke, and so in the mountainous area of Spur rather than the coastal area of Spur. Really, where the borders of Spur and Rolke and Temerian kind of meet. So not that far from where the last venture took place. And what you know is there has been reports of this town being harassed by a black witch, a female wizard of Urbaja. The end.
The end, yes. Characters. Anthony.
I had a thought.
So I can't play Black Hadrick because I played Hadrick last time. So that's the only one.
I can't play Kai.
That's it. Yeah.
Isn't that a bummer?
Anthony could play Hadrick.
And you could play Kai.
And have 2 wizards show up.
Now let's just be really charitable and or not charitable, fair to let any viewers that happen to watch this in on the idea that just yesterday we're talking about the idea. Well, gosh, it's been so long. I suppose if we just don't play any wizards, it'll be easy.
It'll be fine.
And just while you guys are picking your characters, another thing is because we're no longer to broadcast live via Hangouts onto YouTube. Eloy's nice enough to record this for me and then send it over, but it's easier to manage the file sizes if they're about an hour long. So this may be in 2 or 3 parts, depending upon how long the Circle Knights actually live.
Yep.
So be warned. Yep. That might be a 2 or 3 parter.
Short game. Otherwise, if we.
Well, we could stitch it together. We wouldn't have to upload it.
I guess. I'm kind of tempted to play like Anselm and just play against type and just go for the soldier and see what happens.
We haven't seen him yet, and we have seen very little of Ingolf.
Yeah.
Not having the huge lists of spells would be freeing.
It'll be interesting to play Ingolf and see what he looks like if I play him, although it's honestly been such a long time.
Doesn't matter. You remember enough.
Yeah.
Right. And of course, you are free to change whatever spells they have. As the non-wizard characters kind of are memorized, sort of. A few spells, as many as they have points. So.
And you don't have to play Ingolf as Ivan playing Ingolf. You play him as you playing Ingolf. You just have to own up to what he has done or not done.
Ooh. This is the most difficult part of the game. After this, it's all just rolling downhill. And all pretty interesting characters. I do like these characters.
Well, if you took Ingolf, I'd be happy enough to take Anselm, and we could just We'll go in that vein.
Just go in blindly, very Conan-like, and just soldiers against wizards. Very traditional. Let's do that. I'm kind of like, I don't really want to play the wizard again. I want to get down and dirty into the mud and the blood and stuff like that. So, okay, I'll take Ingolf. Sure.
Okay, wow. And each one of these, I think, has a wits of 3? Or,
Yeah.
Let's see. No, Anselm's got a wits of 3. And Ingolf has got a wits of...
I'm the brains of the operation. I have a... Oh, no, wait, a 3 as well.
You think you're the brains of the operation.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Oh, and Ingolf loves black wizards. So I'm reading his key event again. I read all of them yesterday, but I...
Oh, yeah. Well, it's not like he exactly likes avatars have been boring either. He sort of hates them all. So.
Well, let's share a summary of the key events.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, so Ingolf... oh, this is very interesting. This kind of ties into the present situation, because Ingolf... there was a wizard of Urbaja, probably come from Spur, like some of the people in the village had said. After the Dark Man showed up, the land had become sick and the dead had walked. He didn't know if the Avatar had come in response to the people's pleas for deliverance, or if it had just come on its own. He knew that it had exterminated the undead pestilence with a great fervor, and that the Black Wizard was gone, dead, or just driven out. He could not say. Ingolf did not know why the creature of pure Amborion had turned upon the people and began to slaughter them with the same fury that it had extinguished the walking dead. But it had. He didn't know why he had fled, leaving his family and friends behind to be massacred while he ran, but he had. I kind of like that. That means another Black Wizard, he's headed there. Maybe now he's more equipped to handle with this, or at least so he thinks.
Right. And for Anselm, we have the key event. He opened the door of the house. He expected the poorly fitting wood to stick, but it came away from the frame completely. It had just been leaning there. He closed his eyes for a moment and focused on the last hints of the smoke and perfume scent which still clung to him from the funeral service. His brother was gone. He'd said his farewells, and now he knew in a moment he would be left with more dead to attend. The feud had not ended with his brother's death. More blood was needed to sate pride and greed. He stood with the door in his hand while the sun slipped across the sky and the shadow lengthened across the yard in counterpoint. Enough, he said, eventually. And turning, he took up a spear and followed its point away from revenge and down the muddy track toward the sea.
Nice. Alrighty. Those are your 2 circle knights, and now I must, I guess, Anselm has the highest ability scores. Like when you total them up, it's 23, so that means one of my named characters, they get ability scores, I believe, of that, equaling those.
Yeah, just to point out, because it's been a while, Ingolf has a gift. When killed, recover fully for the next scene once per venture. His traits are brutal and brave, and his demeanor is shy. So that should... Ooh, shy. Interesting. That should color...
Anselm's trait is brave, and romantic, and he is always marked with an emblem of his past military service.
Right on.
Crossed spears inside a circle.
Cool. Alrighty. Let me just take a look here at my person and see what I'm going to do with them. Okay, well, that's good. That equals. Okay, good. All right, enough math for the night. Or today. Alrighty. So now, as is customary, I'm going to describe the trip to the location, but we're actually going to start a scene after your arrival. So this is just a GM narration. You guys ready? You got to pick your spells too, right?
Yeah, let me just read them over really quick.
All of them?
Healing and confused.
No, just two. Yeah.
So yeah, you have to balance them out. But do you want to narrate now? You need a moment.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. I'll figure it out, the exact details of this as we go along.
Okay, not a problem. So, very much like the last trip, although you weren't on this last trip, the Circle Knights, the easiest way to get to this location in Spur, because it literally is. Do I have a map available to me? Because we can look it up on the map. The easiest thing to do, instead of going down Rolke, from about the center of Rolke through the mountains, which is just kind of tough travel, instead, your guides have taken you, as you pass from area to area, from guide to guide, they've taken you out of Rolke into, there we go, there it is, taking you out of Rolke into Temerian, where you can kind of go down the easier passage and get right down here to the area of Spur where it hits Rolke, right here in the mountainous area. And a lot of Spur would be here, but then there's kind of this mountainous area as well. And once again, it's not that far from the last place you were, overall on the map. So you travel down, from area to area, from set of guides to set of guides, through Temerian. Once again, you can see the cloud cities in the sky over more central Temerian every once in a while, where these incredible Amborian zones, where Amborian has taken everything over. But as you travel, you leave those behind. You're certainly not going anywhere near there. And you finally head into the mountains themselves. The traveling becomes harder. And as you, let me just double check here. Let me just make sure what your professions are, because that will kind of indicate what you notice.
I'm a peasant and a farmer.
Okay.
Soldier.
A freeman soldier. Okay. So that helps. So you're heading towards this town or village of Hildburg, which quite literally means Battle Mountain, and it is aptly named. And as you get closer and closer to the area where the town is, you start to see a large flat hill, and a hill with a flat top, and the town itself is set. The slope goes up. The town is set like in this incredibly defensible position. This is something that Enshelm would just kind of notice, like, wow, this is one of a perfect spot. Like if you were going to have a besieged or want to defend a town, this is really kind of incredible. Just the way the mountains are. There's actually a stream / waterfall kind of cascading into this area, so there's a constant supply of fresh water. There are terraced farmlands. Ingolf, you can notice the way they've really utilized the slopes of these mountains kind of ingeniously. So they've provided themselves with an incredible amount of farmland in what otherwise would seem inhospitable. There's actually a surprising number of lizards and rats. Rats are not something that are really native to the Crescent Land. You don't see them very often, certainly not this far inland. But there seems to be some kind of population of rats, and you've seen them scurrying around, as you get closer to this area. And it's possible, Ingolf, would surmise that they're possibly living off of a lot of the grain and whatnot that these people are growing here, because it's just really idyllic in terms of just location. It's something where you could hold off and be besieged here and hold off quite an attack for a while. And not only that, but that flat-topped hill is just an ideal sentry location. It really doesn't look like it's accessible from too many points. And if there's obviously something that you could access that hill from the town itself, There's other areas where it hits the, forest in the mountain, but it's like a narrow passage. So even if somebody were trying to attack via that way, they have a bottleneck. It's just one of those, there's various ways to get into this place, but this one entrance is a bottleneck. You could pick people off one by one as they try to enter there. The worst thing that would do is make your egress, if you had to flee, hard. But you can't imagine, or at least Anselm can't imagine needing to flee this place unless the forces were incredibly outnumbering. As you get closer to the town, you notice that there's some men on a pole, or on poles. Several of them are dead, and there are 3 that were still alive. It's unclear how long they've been there. The birds are feasting on their brethren, but the men beg for you to kill them, and the people that are escorting you there at that point just kind of shake their heads and explain to you they're the remnants of a raiding party that raided this village not very long ago, and this is their punishment. The only other thing that is remarkable during that entrance to the town itself is, as you pass that large flat hill, several of your escorts kind of hex themselves. They cross themselves, and they just mentioned that it's cursed.
The hill behind the village, right? Okay, the hill itself.
Yeah. The hill itself is kind of like, if you're looking right at the village, and you're imagining this kind of scooped out area of the mountains, the hill would be on your left as you're entering. And it's just kind of one of the first things you'll come across. It's an ideal place for a sentry to look and see, okay, somebody's coming, and then run back or somehow signal the village itself. And so that's your entry. Other than that, the only other thing that was somewhat remarkable is it's not the most friendly welcome that you got. People knew you were coming, but several of the people when you arrived were armed. They weren't threatening; they were just armed, and it appeared that you were no threat, and you were kind of let into the village, and you've kind of been assimilated into village life. So some time is going on. You arrived, near the end of summer, so it's just that transition from summer to fall. You've slipped into your abilities as Circle Knights often do. I can imagine Ingolf has been helping with the farming, of which there's a tremendous amount to do, and Anselm has kind of, I imagine, got himself into, helping the local militia and all that sort of stuff. And we're going to open with a return. Since you've been there for about a month. A return of the leader of the town and some of his men from a raid on another village, and they've come back with prisoners, and they brought the prisoners back, and they're having a feast in the longhouse as sort of a celebration of their victory. So most of the village is invited to the longhouse. Let's see, anything else that you would notice right off the top of your head? Oh yeah, one thing, because you're both of the social stratus that you would kind of notice this, is the town is larger than the population. Like, there's more buildings than there are people here to occupy them. Some of the huts and what have you are unoccupied. The town sort of like Anselm notices this place has been attacked a few times, more than it should have been. Some of the people have scars that are more recent. Some of the buildings show the damage of fire, and some have been repaired, some haven't. It's been attacked a lot, more than you would expect from a place of this defensibility. Not successfully, but it's been picked at. Almost like a pack of dogs would kind of harry a large cat. And both of you notice, but particularly Ingolf, that the people here, they're well fed, they're strong, they're hardy, but they have this kind of haunted look in their eyes. They almost have the look of people that have given up. The will to live almost is kind of sucked out of them, despite the fact that they're seemingly in this idyllic situation.
And we've seen no no
Mhm.
sign of this witch woman.
You have not up to this point.
Hmm.
Up to this point. But there's now
It's
a
not
sorry?
It's not a topic of conversation.
It doesn't appear to be much of a topic of conversation. The actual sea opening scene, if you will, there is this kind of feast in the longhouse. And, you know, as Circle Knights, despite the fact that your social station is not quite up to snuff, you're sitting rather close to the leader of the village, who's just returned victorious. Also returned victorious with his right-hand man. Ivo is his right-hand man. He's an outdoorsman. He's a low martial person. He's pretty much the not quite the commander of the armies, but in all cases, I mean, he's pretty much the guy that does a lot of the actual leading, despite the fact that he has a low martial rank. There are gentry in the town that are all related to Werther Ulrich, who is the leader of this place. Werther Ulrich is, you know, a gentry. He is kind of a vain and proud sort of individual. Just not somebody that, you know, neither Ivo nor Werther are real people, if you will. But you're at this feast. The prisoners have been stowed away. You notice that there's about 10 prisoners that got brought in. Some of them appeared to be children and women, and a couple young men. But they are not at this feast. They are, you know, in a stockade of sorts, under guard. But you're sitting next to Ivo, then to Werther, and there's much feasting and rejoicing going on. Sullen, but there's, you know, a celebration of their victory.
Is this the first raid we've witnessed happen while we were in town? I'm guessing.
Yeah,
yes.
you haven't seen a raid on the town itself. You know, you know, besides knowing that one it happened really just before your arrival, and this is the first time they've actually gone out to
raid somebody. Okay, cool,
Right.
cool. All right.
I have to say, sitting next to, you know, these highly placed people makes me uncomfortable. This is not my place. I should be, you know, seated further away. But as they asked me to sit there, I will sit there. But I'm waiting for that perfect social window to move.
Right. And Ingolf?
Ingolf is also uncomfortable because he seldom belongs at the high table. His station has shifted as being a Circle Knight, but he's really at home with the peasants. So he's also kind of uncomfortable, and to top it off, he's shy. So, you know, he kind of looks to Anselm to see how to proceed, but it doesn't seem to be at ease either.
Anselm is also uncomfortable because Ingolf is there, and Ingolf is even more out of place than he himself is.
Right. So it's about that time that you're feeling incredibly uncomfortable that Werther, who appears to have had a couple glasses of mead, looks over to Ivo, you know, who's between you and him, and says, "What say you, Ivo? Next time we should have our worthy Circle Knights go along and help you on the next raid. What do you think?" And kind of slaps him, you know, whacks him on the back. And Ivo looks right over at Anselm and Ingolf. You know, Anselm is sitting right next to him and says, "What do you think? Do you think you'd handle that?" Yeah, charm. Exactly, charm. It's time for charm. And you can roll with a full 2 dice, seeing as you've...
Should we both do it at the same time? Just to...
Sure. And do it for Ivo first, and then do it for all of Werther.
Sure. Charm of 4. I actually succeed at the charm roll for Ivo because I got
Really?
an 8 and a 4 is 12. So
Whoa, you're rolling better, man.
All right, Anselm for Ivo. Rolled a 12 plus 6 for 18.
Oh,
Nice.
wow. Nice.
That'll be the best roll of my evening.
Yeah.
And for
Well,
Werther,
Yeah.
rolled 10 for 16.
Okay.
Yeah, Werther doesn't quite like the peasant sitting at the table with that 9 on the roll. So
Okay. That makes sense, actually. That makes sense.
so
And
I'm going to earn that Werther's dislike right now because Ingolf says. This seems strange to raid the neighbors and bring back children. I understand killing the men and perhaps stealing the women, but why children?
Werther looks, kind of disgusted and slams down his anchor bead. You know what children grow up to be? The children of your enemies, they grow up to be your enemies. You kill them, you have no more enemies. You leave them alive, they grow up, they come after you. And I do not want any more people coming after me. That is why you are a farmer and not a soldier.
So I look over at Anselm, and so the children, they are to be put to the sword.
And Ivo kind of leans over to both of you, and there are plans for the children, but it is best not to speak of this now.
So Winkle.
I am a soldier. And my understanding of war is that its goal is to attain prosperity and peace. The easiest road to peace is simply to sue for peace.
Ivo
You have made
looks,
the road more difficult for yourself.
are you saying this to Werther, to Ivo, to both?
Werther and Ivo.
Huh.
But really, really nicely.
Right. In a charming way.
I think your philosophy stinks,
Yeah, in a nice
sir.
way. Yeah. And Werther kind of sighs and says, if only that were so. If only things were that easy. We could simply sue for peace. But this village has suffered many attacks from many neighbors, and we are harried. Harried
What
like
do
the
you
mountain
have
lions.
that they want?
An idyllic location, food, and it's a great place. Who wouldn't? But and Ivo, on the other hand, says it's not just that. When they come in small bands, large bands. It is as if they're drawn here to attack us. The place is, well, some would say cursed. And Werther gives them this like icy stare. It's not cursed. I told you not to talk about things like that. And there's like a little bit of just kind of a staring contest between them for a second. And then it boils, kind of dies down.
I have noticed that there are many empty homes. Seems to me that a small band could be invited in.
If they came here on friendly terms, yes, says I will. But generally, they come here bearing flaming arrows and the sword, and we must fight them off as best we can. We kill them, we put them on the pole. More come in their place. So sometimes it is best to go kill them before they kill you. Don't you think that is wise?
So your punishment methods are not a deterrent.
This is true. This is true. And Ivo gives you this, I mean, Werther just looks upset and got that look of a flustered, drunken man who's, more idealistic. Like, this is the way it ought to be. That's the kind of vibe you're getting off of him. Whereas, Ivo just seems like a much more astute individual in general. Yes, he's like, yes, they have not been effective. They have not been effective, but that is why sometimes we must use drastic measures.
Drastic measures. This is Ivo talking, right? So,
Right. Yeah.
I'll lean over and say drastic measures. What's more drastic than killing the men and their children?
And he leans over to you and says, why don't you come with me tomorrow? Perhaps it's easier to show you rather than to tell you.
I will be glad to come and see. After all, if your methods don't seem to be working, there are alternatives. The young king in Rolke brings new ways. I shall be glad to see what you practice here, and happy to discuss other ways.
What we are seeing now, though, is fighting fire with fire leaves the world burned.
And at the mention of the young king in Rolke, the rather soused Werther was, young king in Rolke, let him come here and kill our enemies. What good does he do us sitting in his longhouse in the mountains? Have him come down here. And he draws his sword. Have him come here and because he's not in armor or anything, but he's, his sword is on his belt, as he looks high and mighty and ceremonial and badass, like a Viking ought to, or a Viking-like person, draws his sword, and it's a beautiful sword. It really is. And he waves it about a little bit and then puts it back in the scabbard. It's probably one of the coolest swords you've ever seen. It is made of this twisted steel that just like kind of shimmers with both black and white. It's like a masterpiece. It's an incredible looking sword, and one, the like of which you've never seen.
Sure. Is this an example of local craftsmanship?
No. Local craft? No. He traded for that some summers ago. Some smith on the coast was making incredible steel at that point. Didn't make very many weapons, but we traded quite a bit of goods for that. I hear something awful happened to his village.
Mm-hmm.
Or from your perspective, they got what they deserved.
That could be that too. There is that. Ivo stands up. Well, I believe I'm going to retire for the evening. Meet me in the morning?
Yes.
Be prepared to travel.
Very well.
Unless anybody wants to do or say anything else.
No, we should see what they want us to see.
Plan, yes.
No attempts to assassinate the king already?
No, but I was tempted to say something more, but but I'm shy. I'll
And I'll be kind.
Yeah.
Okay. So then, next morning, Ivo has a few men settled together, and he has the prisoners, which are, their hands tied behind their back. They're actually roped together in one long chain. So they're kind of all tethered to each other. And they're being escorted into the woods. And he bids you to come along with him. And he's rather chipper. He's actually got one of his pet ravens with him, sitting on his shoulder. And he feeds it some grain every once in a while. And he walks with you, and he walks in front of the procession of prisoners. There's about 4 guards on the prisoners themselves, and bids you to walk up front with him as he's going into the woods.
And we're all on foot, and it's Ivo and 4 guards.
That's correct.
Okay, yeah. All right, so I'll move up to where he is. Are they not to be set up on poles as the raiders were the last time?
Not this time, no.
Curious custom.
Not so much custom, but we do what we have to do now.
I'll politely nod to one of the guards, but I'm going to speak to one of the prisoners.
Alrighty.
Just the first one in the row.
Okay. Excellent. Go ahead. You're speaking to Roland. If you ask him his name. But yeah, we will see if you ask him his name, but at least I know who the hell he is. We won't send him yet.
You are a prisoner, and perhaps about to die. I am not of this place. I am Anselm, a knight of the Circle, ally of the king in Rolke. And I'm very curious about the relationship between this place and your home village.
He looks at you and he says, and he's like, well, I'm very pleased to meet you. I wish the circumstances were a little different. This young man seems to have a bit of a wit. I don't know. I thought we had a good relationship. And our village is rather small compared to this town. I went here once with my pa some years back.
Your village has never raided?
No, we're just another farming village. We really don't have the resources to raid. I mean, sure, we've gotten into spats and had some feuds and the usual, but not aggressive raiding. I don't know what we did wrong. But they came and they put the place to the sword and gathered a few of us, and that was it. I don't know if they killed everybody over there or not. What?
Were you defeated? Why were you taken?
I don't know. We were definitely defeated. We were outnumbered, outclassed. I don't know if the whole village got raised or not. I just know that they clubbed me and took me, and obviously took some of these other people, even kids. I don't know. I don't know what they planned for us. They haven't said anything.
You were not trained as a warrior?
No, I'm a farmer. What do farmers know about fighting?
Look over at Ingolf. Some, a great deal.
Well, yeah, he's jacked. Well, I don't know. I don't suppose you want to. Suppose you want to save us.
I'm not yet certain that you merit it.
Fair enough. I suppose if the roles were reversed, so I might be thinking the same thing. Well,
do not we all believe that might makes right?
It seems fair. I guess.
Huh. Well, if you accept that rule, then don't protest your fate.
You know, that philosophy always seems good until you're the one tied up, marching towards your fate. It doesn't seem so.
By this point, Ingolf has wandered back towards Anselm because he's noticed Anselm talking to this man. And so he catches a little bit of that. And I ask him, you say you're a farmer. How's
Yeah.
the land over by your village?
It's good. It's any bit as good as it is over in the city, or well, you know, the town.
Certainly it can't be as rich as the land here. Is it? Are your crops bountiful? And I ask him, you know, in terms to sort of gauge how rich or how bountiful the last harvest was. Trying to gauge, you know, whether the crops are failing or they're, you know, managing to keep up, you know.
Yeah, and from what he tells me, man, they were good. They seem to use the same kind of terraced approach that Hilberg uses. The harvest was good.
So it sort of confirms the story that, you know, there's no real reason for raiding. They have rich land. So I share this with Anselm and say that from what he describes of the land and the yield of the crops, it doesn't seem like they'd want to raid a larger, stronger town for no reason at all. Why would they risk raiding?
This man that we were speaking to is not prepared for war.
So
not mentally, not physically prepared for war. So how this village he was taken from could be a threat is a mystery to me.
It seems our Chief Werther has a bit of conquest in his mind rather than the security of his city.
Or there could be blacker things afoot.
There might. Right now I'm curious to see why exactly they kept these men alive and why they had brought them here and not put them to the sword in the village like they did the rest of the place. I don't like the look of this.
At this point, you've gone through the woods for some time. It is really, after a while, there were no trails. It's a little treacherous. You know, it's kind of that hilly, rocky sort of mountainous terrain that still manages to be a forest, and you're heading towards like an actual wall. You know, where the forest hits the mountain, and the mountain kind of goes right up, and there are just giant trees around here. The whole area, the aura of the area is kind of spooky, to be quite honest with you. There's another one of those streams that's in the area, so it's not dry. This area is actually kind of a bit wet, and there's actually quite a few of these lizards running around. They range in size. Since you've been there, they range in size from like small dog to like large dog. You know, it's pretty big. You know, like monitor sort of lizards. In fact, you're pretty sure you've had a stew or two with these lizards in it. They seem to be a staple food source of the local people. You know, very much. You know, for when a hunting group comes back, they usually come back with some of these larger lizards. And all of a sudden, Ivo stops the group and looks towards the guards and says, "Put the blindfolds on." And the guards, who just look kind of like they'd rather be anyplace else, start putting blindfolds on all the prisoners. And
I ask, why bother? Why bother with blindfolds? They're not coming back, are they? I ask Ivo. Yeah.
And Ivo looks at you, doesn't say a word, as the blindfolds are being put on, and just shakes his head. not smiling, not frowning, just letting you know that's the case. And he takes the rope, the front of the rope of the line of prisoners, and he looks at the guards and says, "I'll go from here," and then looks at the two of you. So, you're coming?
Yes.
Lead on.
So the four guards look absolutely like they're just happy to stay at this one spot. There's a rock, and they just lean in their spears against it and sit down. And one even hexes himself, uses a cross to himself, and he leads the prisoners on into this area where you realize all of a sudden you're kind of coming towards this cave entrance, and you also see like a little hut. And as you cross over just a little bit further to it, you see a corpse hanging from a tree by its feet. It's been eviscerated. It's been eviscerated for some time. Doesn't look like it was the last couple days. Pretty awful. And then you see a few more ropes where it looks like the same thing has taken place. Like this is a common occurrence over here. And you hear this voice coming from the hut. "I see you have brought me my due. And what else have you brought?"
What is this? I whispered to Ivo. What devilry is this?
"This is what we must do, however. This may be our salvation as well." And this woman comes out of the hut. You can see she was a beautiful woman. You can still see the beauty in her, striking, but her hair is matted. Her fingernails are long. She has this kind of crazed look in her eye. She's dirty. She is dressed in it looks like it was a nice clothes at one point, but it's torn and dirty, and it doesn't look like somebody that's really the pinnacle of hygiene and self-care. And she has kind of a gleam in her eye. "Ah, yes, you brought them. Bring them here. But who have you brought with you?" And she looks and she sees the emblems of the circle on your clothes. It might be time to roll charm. One die.
Okay.
One die.
Oh, I have a excellent chance of failing, which I do.
I get a 6.
Total?
No, I rolled a 6.
Oh, I was gonna say I
Which
got
is
that. I got that beat because I rolled a total 7 total, but
So neither of you managed to charm
no.
this woman.
We're still adding charm, right?
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
12.
Oh,
Oh, you've got a
12.
this.
I rolled a 6. I have a charm of 6.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
Probably that's the 12.
Excellent. That's great. Okay. Yeah.
So Ingolf is scowling. He's not happy at all to see this woman, which is probably why he's not making an impression.
And she looks, at Ivo and says, "Circle Knights. What have you brought me, Ivo? What have you brought me? I should kill you now." And, Ivo looks back and says, "I don't think that would be a good idea. I didn't bring you them. Just merely brought them here to show them what's going on, to let them understand our situation more."
What is your situation, Ivo?
And our friend Feist here arrived here about a year ago. And she cackles as soon as he says that. And demanded tribute. We resisted for a time, which did not go well. And she says, no, it did not. And so we have acquiesced to bring her tribute. This is something that Werther has determined is the best course.
White truck with a witch. We've heard word of her.
And she's like already going up to one of the prisoners, the man that you spoke to before, and kind of caressing his cheek, and the man's kind of flinching with the blindfold on. He goes, yes, why truck with someone like me indeed? So Ivo looks at you, and it's all very, very kind of surreal that this woman is like, prancing around the prisoners, and Ivo's just standing there talking to you. And our village has been cursed for some time. Maybe since Werther committed a mistake. He made a mistake. A vain mistake, but a mistake. And since that time, our village has just suffered attack after attack after attack. And he won't hear of it, but I know my childhood friend has brought down judgment upon our village. And we have repelled them over time, but you can see the people are growing more and more restless. They're more and more, they've had it. They're fed up. They're being harried to death. We're dying the death of 1,000 scratches, 1,000 cuts. And Werther believes that if we maintain a relationship, that she can be a powerful ally. Yeah.
Or perhaps you're inviting attack because you have allied yourself with forces which are inimical to our way of life. In Rolke, we have exterminated her kind and the pestilence that her dedication to Urbaja brings.
And the witch looks up when you say that and leaves the prisoners. She's already tied to it, to tie the rope to a tree. And yes, that's right. Extermination of my kind. Was harried by Circle Knights. They drove me from where I was. I had one of them chase me from place to place. I was once much more beautiful. But because of that constant harassment, I can no longer live in a life of luxury. And I decided to dedicate myself more and more to the purity of Urbaja, our kind. Your kind is the abomination. I know now what the purity of Urbaja, the purity of death, the purity of pestilence is. You have no comprehension.
I free my spear from my horse.
Excellent.
And I draw my hatchet, yes. So, yeah, I'm gonna rush her. I say enough words, and I draw my hatchet and run towards her.
Yes. All right. Well, that didn't
I'm
take long.
thinking that we need to break the cycle of revenge and deceit, and we can do that with iron and wood and flesh. And I can't think of anyone I'd rather do this with than my friend Ingolf.
Yes.
All righty. Well then, I got the initiative tracker. Excellent.
I do have a small doubt in the back of my head that she might actually be holding back some magical curse.
Yeah, she might. Yeah, we can fix that. By the way, kudos on bringing back Feist from the last venture. Reincorporation.
Yeah.
Yes.
It wasn't me. It was the dice, man.
Hey, but it worked.
It wasn't me. It was the dice. Alrighty. So we've got Anselm. We've got Ingolf, and I guess we'll call her number 1.
Yeah.
Black.
And
And-
there's
Black
Ivo
number
too,
one.
so maybe Ivo's there as well.
Yeah. Yeah, Ivo will be I will be number 2. And let's see. She has a quickness of 5.
She has a quickness of 5, so Anselm actually has a quickness of 8.
Yeah.
So if I recall correctly, it sort of goes like this. Right? Because, well, actually, it goes like this.
And some should be 3 o'clock, yeah.
And is Ivo acting? Or
Yeah, I'll put him in the initiative order. So he's got a quickness of 5.
5. So he's on the same quickness with the witch.
Right.
So should we put him behind the witch?
I'll put her behind the witch for right now, or you know.
Sure.
And Ingolf has what?
Ingolf has 7.
Fight. All right. Well,
So
start.
I think we announce intentions.
Right.
So, Anselm?
So Anselm has his spear in 2 hands. I mean, we're just riding up somewhere. As much as I would love to be wearing armor, I can't imagine that he would be doing so. The message it sends just isn't right. So with the spear in 2 hands, he's rushing in, right, keeping Ingolf on his flank, you know, moving off to the side of Feist, the witch, to force her to have to choose between them. You know, just unthinking, finely honed, constantly repeated tactics. And his approach is going to be, you know, to feint with the spear point into her face to cause a flinch, hopefully, and then trying to attack at the knee joint to cause her to fall so that he can impale her. That's the picture in his head of the perfect day.
All right, and Ingolf.
Ingolf is a farmer with some combat training at the Circle, but he's competent enough. But he realizes that this witch woman of Urbaja must be taken down quickly. So he is going for a strike to the neck or, you know, clavicle, shoulder, neck area to see if he can incapacitate her or kill her as quickly as possible before she begins to muster up her magic. And she is the biggest threat, so she needs to be dealt with first, and then we worry about Ivo.
Right, and what weapon is Ingolf using?
Oh, he has a hatchet. I'm thinking, yeah, probably the whole mail and shield and stuff. I don't know if they would have brought their whole, you know, battle gear for this expedition.
Doesn't seem likely.
But it seems like he would have brought his weapons, because, you know, he had a bad feeling about this whole thing from the start. So I'm thinking knife, hatchet. Knife and hatchet, I suppose.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. And at this point, Ivo is drawing a sword, but it's really not clear. You see, he's got this look where he's really not clear whom he's going to interact with. He seems, you know, rather surprised by the whole event. And the witch is clearly casting a spell. And she is going to spend a point of brawn to go first.
Oh.
I'll spend a point to counter.
Ooh, nice. I don't think you can do it again. So, all right, cool. they both spend points and leapfrog over each other until they both fall unconscious, not actually doing anything.
Right.
All right, Ingolf. Are you spending points of brawn to go first? Are you just waiting your turn?
I'm going to wait and see what happens with Anselm, and if, depending on how that goes, I'll maybe pump Braun and go before her too.
Okay, nifty. So then, I got to get dice for the witch. Hold on, let me go grab my circle of hands dice. I forgot that I actually have to use them here. And as we do combat, remember the big thing is you're using your you're using your dice roll, and that's going to you take your quickness rather. You take your quickness and you double it, and you can split it however you'd like in between attack and defense. You can do evens or whatever, or however. And then the dice roll gets added to both of these.
Correct.
So if you have a quickness of 6 and you decide I want to spend 2 on defense and 4 on attack, and you roll a 6, then you have an attack of 12 and a defense of 8, right? Okay. Because I think we messed that up before, and we were just having quickness or something. So
Yeah.
1 second.
Yeah, it's called the commitment, and it's equal to quickness score twice, so you can split it, anyway.
Right.
And you're actually pulling the. Let's wait for item. And
Okay.
so Anselm is actually pulling her into a clash. Is what he's
Right.
doing her.
Right.
Yeah.
He's pulling her into a clash. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And so she can either opt to attack back or just defend, right?
Correct.
And I'm going to say this first round, the advantage goes to her simply because of the terrain.
Mm-hmm.
She's on her home turf. Other than that, it's all fair and good. So
So
she
now
is-
you need to declare your split for the commitment secretly, and then I guess after that you roll.
Right. And I'm just deciding whether she is going to attack back or not. If she attacks back, then she loses her turn. Isn't that
Correct.
the idea?
Correct. She
All right.
goes.
Right. So in this case, she's really only rolling for defense, right? So one thing I forgot about, if she's not actually. This is the rules lookup portion of the game.
So if she goes full defense, she can do 0 to attack and everything to defense.
Right.
So it's basically double her quickness plus whatever the dice roll is.
Okay, I got you. All right. Excellent. Okay. You can roll away.
Okay. So let's roll.
Let's roll.
These dice have to be loaded.
Good or bad loaded?
Well, I already rolled a 12, and then
Uh-oh.
later on I rolled a 6. I just rolled a 12.
Nice.
All right, so 12 plus your quickness is
12 plus double my quickness. I put it all into the
Oh,
attack.
all out
Oh,
attack.
good
Jesus.
God, really? Wow.
So that's 20 what? 28 or something like that?
So the brawn was 8, is now 7.
Right.
So 14 plus 12 is a large number.
14 plus 12 is 26, minus whatever she has for armor.
All right.
And then you divide that evenly between brawn and quickness, because, that decreases her brawn and quickness evenly. And if there's any left over, it goes to quickness. And if any of those hit 0, she's in trouble.
All right, so here's the question when you're let's see. I don't think you actually add the brawn until after you determine whether you won or not.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because it's the margin of success.
Yeah.
Is what you look at her defense score. So Anthony's attack was 26, I think. 28.
Right.
Because it's
26.
12 plus. No, you had 8 quickness?
Quickness, yeah. So 16.
So
plus
16 plus 12
I
is.
spent quickness to go first.
You pump brawn to go first. No,
Oh,
you
you're right,
still
you're
have.
right.
So it's 28 minus her defense roll.
Okay, well, her defense roll here is 9, 11 plus 16.
So 28 minus 16 is 12.
12. That's 12.
And you split that evenly between her. So 6 to her brawn and 6 to her quickness.
Right.
Does it?
Plus his brawn.
Oh, sorry. Plus his brawn. Yeah. Minus her
Brawn is
armor.
currently 7.
Okay. So 12 plus 7 is 19. Divided by 2 is 10 to quickness, 9 to brawn.
As I'm using a spear, if she is wearing armor, it's probably of no value.
Right.
Oh. So 10 to quickness and 9 to brawn. I'm hoping she doesn't have more scores than that.
No. Yeah. You toast this woman.
So if both scores go to 0, he gets to decide if the strike is fatal, I believe is how this goes. If both are reduced to 0, hang on. Yeah, if both goes to 0 at once, the attacker has the option to state that the effect is instantly or near instantly lethal. So, what's it going to be?
She's a witch.
She's a witch.
Do not suffer the witch to live.
Exactly. So, describe how you impale this woman.
Yeah.
So it is the perfect day for Anselm. He rushes in, faints to her face, and it causes that instinctive flinch reaction, as the wordless words of Urbaja are starting to tumble out of her mouth. He faints, she flinches, he trips her, slams the butt into her diaphragm, reverses the spear, and drives it down into her chest.
Nice.
Until he meets dirt.
Right. And, instead of blood, come gushing out, there's like this black goop that starts to just emanate from the wound. And you can just see her just kind of shrivel up, like almost like a sack, a skin sack just filled with goop. And she almost kind of deflates. It's quite, it's quite horrible to watch.
I think I'll leave this spear here.
This particular spear.
And Ivo he's got his sword out. He just looks kind of stunned. And he puts his sword slowly back in the scabbard.
Good
and starts to clap. Bravo. The rumors about you are true. She was the scourge of the village for quite some time. This would be a day for celebration if it weren't for one small problem.
What is that problem? I still have my hatchet in hand just in case.
And the prisoners, just like you kind of hear this like muffling. What's going on? What's happening? I was like, well, I got the the blindfolds, the hoods over their head, and everything, and he's like, what to do with them? And so he sits down on this log, this stump, and as he does, his shoe like kicks up, removes some leaves over just a skeleton, like just a skeleton of a child. And she kind of, and just kind of pushes it away from him with a boot. And says, well, Werther's not going to be particularly happy, which is, odd, considering she killed his son, but he was really convinced that this witch might be the answer to our problems, to help stop the constant raiding, or at least, he thought she'd be a powerful ally. And now,
well,
now she's dead.
Nothing good comes from Urbaja, Ivo. If it's raiding problems you face, I'm sure those can be dealt with in other ways.
Well, sure, they could be. He stood,
If you
looks
do
at the
not
back.
have the strength to win a war without this woman, then you need to find the strength to bind together as allies. You live in the same land. Are you not the same people?
I understand your words. I know what you were getting at. We are the same people, but we are not the same people. You know, our Hildburg is Hildburg, and we were once a more welcoming town, but that is ancient history now. Ever since he took the Smith's wife, the place has been cursed.
Werther?
Yes, yeah. He took the. Werther and I grew up together. Best friends. Been his right hand man since I can remember, and clearly, my station really, you know, I've struck gold with this man. You know? But
still, you recognize that this is the wrong way to go about it, do you not? This killing of your fellows and sacrificing of children.
yeah, it was the efficient way to go about it. But you know, I don't know. We didn't know what else to do with her. But now you've kind of solved that problem, which is interesting, to say the least, and great. But it doesn't solve the problem of the constant raids. And Werther won't hear of it, but I know his actions caused judgment to fall upon the community.
Have these prisoners here ever raided?
No, that village, no, they're sitting ducks. We just needed the sacrifices. It's either that we get them from other villages, or we sacrifice our own. And she demands them frequently. And so he looks down the skeleton of the child. That may be. It's possible that's Hendrik or Frisia. We sent children there. She does like children. Did like children.
Do you not understand that she demands the sacrifices because she wants to warp you into what she is, not because she has any particular need?
Who can understand the mind of a witch?
So how do the other nobles feel? How do the rest of the gentry feel about Werther and his crimes?
Doesn't matter how they feel. If they cross him, he'll kill them. He's very good at that.
I suppose.
Very good at that.
But he is the source of this curse, is he not?
I think so. He took the wife of the Smith. Oh man, 18. I don't think Vikings say "oh man." But whatever idiom he's using,
Hail, man.
hail man. It had to be almost 20 years ago, 20 summers ago. Desired the wife of the Smith, needed an heir, and accused him of Urbaja. Had him put to the pole right on top of Ward Hill, and took her for his own. She bore him a son, and then one day, not so long after that, she went to the top of Ward Hill and jumped. Some people call it Ava's Leap, but never in front of Werther. He'll tool you up for calling it that. But he's forbidden anybody to go there since.
And so soon after the raiding started?
Yes. Soon after the raiding started.
Well, such is always the cycle of revenge. We commit acts of evil. Someone is first to commit an act of evil, and someone must follow it up with more evil. So, of course, we reply with more evil.
The cycle must be broken. So preaches the king in Rolke. It's a new start. He breaks old bonds and forges new ones.
That is great talk, but what actually is the practical application of that? You see what our village is like. This is a proud people, a strong people, but they are demoralized.
It doesn't have to be that way. What they need is new leadership. someone willing to break this curse, someone willing to take Werther's place. And new alliances can be formed. And
It's
old.
not going to be me. I'm almost 50, an old man, just like Werther. And besides, I do not have the social class, nor can I stomach the idea of betraying my friend in that manner. But you want to break the curse? I don't know that it can be broken. I do know that ever since he sacrificed that man, the man swore revenge. And since then, Ava killed herself. People that have gone up to Ward Hill usually never come back. Some that come back quite mad, and they try to burn the village down.
Well,
But it is forbidden to go up there.
If you believe this curse should be broken, if you would save your friend, not replace him, if you would not start revolution, but instead start repair, if you would climb that hill, I will climb it with you.
You did charm the guy. Man.
With an 18, no less.
With
I
an
can't
18.
possibly charm him any more than that.
Wow. Dude, it seems like there should be a roll here, but there's no roll here. So what would he do in this situation?
But I'll give you some time to think.
And while you
But
do that,
looking at Ingolf, we are not here to start revolution. We're not here to disrupt, but to see this play out in front of me is not something I can stomach.
neither can I. At least we've stopped this witch. Only death and suffering come in her wake. And this curse is pointless. These people fight for no reason. There's rich land. There is good land. They hold the strongest, most defensible position, according to you. I say we follow the example of the young king. We teach them a new way. We give them a chance for a new start. If this curse...
And we wipe Urbaza and Emborian from the land.
If this curse is the source of it, and I say we get rid of it, and I draw my knife, and I go to the prisoners and start cutting their bonds and removing their hoods.
As soon as you remove the hoods, one little girl looks up, sees the corpse hang from the tree, and starts screaming her head off. And a couple of them start sobbing, and another one just goes like, "And over there," and you realize there are several more corpses you hadn't noticed before hanging down like just horrific.
So
decorations this woman has made for herself in this lovely, idyllic place.
But they're not all children, right? There's adults.
There's adults and children, but all look like they've been tortured to death.
So
They're pretty horrific.
No, but there's some prisoners who are adults.
The children. Yeah, there's some young men and some young women, but like all of them, they might be 20, 21 at the most.
Yeah. So I say you have been spared a dark fate. You must now make your way through this forest. Do not go back to Hillsburg. We will see if we can bring you supplies and food, but we cannot guarantee such. If there are any among you skilled in the ways of the woodland, then try to make your way to another village or back to your homes.
Right. Yeah, and they're all looking at you like just completely freaked out, wide-eyed. And Ivo stops his hold. He says, "Do not leave yet. If you go back this way, you'll be slaughtered by the guards. I believe it would be best if we left and just let them think that all is."
Of course. Yes, we will lead the guards away and wait for a while, and you may chance the road if you wish. But wait.
Yeah.
Wait as long
Yeah.
as you can.
And he looks like, when to tell Werther that the witch is dead. I don't know about that. He looks down at his shoes and looks back up at Anselm. Says, I will go with you, even though it might mean my death. For Werther has vowed to kill anyone that goes up to the hell, but
You're his friend. You're not willing to have him suffer. He likewise may feel the same about you, but we are men of action, are we not?
we are men of action.
So we must act. Lies create more lies.
That they do. An impossible web of deceit. You're an astute man. Yeah. Alrighty. So, with that, he bids the prisoners to stay, and which they do not feel really. They don't look very happy of staying around this place of death and pestilence. The more they look around, the more horrific things get. But they understand the idea that if they go back, they'll be killed. So he leads you right back out. Says to the guards, "It is done." And we go down. The couple of guards like sigh, relief, and one hexes himself again as he looks back towards the clearing, and it's a much faster trot back to the village. These guys appear to be just like they'd really rather go home.
Not waste a moment longer in that place.
Yeah, go home, see what kind of meat is left, and have a drink, and that's about it. And I've even mentioned to you before, it's like not a word of what you plan to do. Just think about when you want to do it.
If we act in secrecy, we don't give Werther the opportunity to embrace it. We assume bad action from him.
But Ivo has said that Werther will not let anyone go to the hill. If we cross them on this, and he reacts badly, then we may be forced to take arms against him. We must weigh the possible consequences.
This is a chieftain who has turned his village into the servant of Urbaja, a willful and willing, deceived servant. Perverted, where they accept the sacrifice of children, excuse me for using your words so bluntly, Ivo, as efficient. Who chooses to rain down death on the weak and defenseless in order to preserve some sort of protection, likely fully false, from some perceived curse caused by one's own bad behavior.
So he looks at you and chuckles, and I don't think you're leaving anything out.
So what do you propose we do, Anselm? Confront Werther in front of his nobles? We have slain this witch. That course of action is no longer available to him.
Werther is a chieftain, but he's also a man. He is capable of making mistakes, and he's capable of addressing them. We should give him the opportunity to, with his friend Ivo, climb the mountain and cleanse the area of the sin he may have caused. It can be done in private. We don't need to embarrass him or chastise him, but can we skulk around in secret and say that we are knights?
You have a point. And even if we break this curse, then that just absolves him of his problem without him needing to change, without him taking any responsibility. I think you were right.
Dodging consequences.
I think you were right. We must face him and give him the opportunity to take responsibility for his actions. But I say we do this with caution. He might react badly, as Ivo has warned us. I'll don mail and helm for this
I'll
confrontation.
get my armor as well.
Yes.
You hear that?
Shield,
Hear that, Ron? We're getting
helm.
our armor. That's great. Okay. Does anybody want to do anything else prior to that meeting? And we assume that we're going to, return back to town.
Eat,
Yep.
drink.
Be merry. But I mean, any,
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any spells you want to cast or anything like that. If you would have, depending on what you've chosen, if there's anything, okay.
Not at this point. Not really. Just get, decked up in armor and weapons, and nail down details with Anselm. With Anselm and Ivo. Are we going to request like a private audience? I think that's probably best. The less people there are, the greater our chances of coming out of this alive. So.
Yes.
I think that is best. I think a private audience we could have with him. Yeah, I think that would be the best. He does not. He's a proud man. He does not want to have a conversation like this in front of anybody.
Okay.
He will with me. He will be angry at me, but we have been friends for 50 years.
So he'll listen to you. He trusts you. Have him meet us alone.
He listens to me enough. He's not the smartest man, but he is generally able to see logic and reason, mostly. Not all the time. Not when his emotions really sway him. But let us meet with him. When do you want to do it? What time of day?
Soon.
All right, soon. All right, we'll call it evening.
Yeah.
So, meet me here at such and such a place.
Yeah, sometime between meals, right? So there won't be people there.
Right. Excellent.
And that means we can climb the hill with the first light of dawn after he agrees.
All right. I got you. Okay. So you end up having this private audience with Ivo and with Werther. They both look at you kind of cross-eyed, like the fact that you come completely decked out in armor and everything else. Werther has his sword strapped on as he always does, but he's not in any sort of armor. And gives you this look. So he looks at you, Ivo. What is this about? Doesn't even look at Ingolf at all. He's kind of Ingolf is obviously treating Ingolf as if he's a piece of furniture in the room,
Mm-hmm.
but is willing to look at Anselm and Ivo. And so tell me, what is this about? Ivo says it's very important, but hasn't spoken to me about what it is.
Yesterday, at your request, we were taken into the mountains to see how it was you have dealt with this region's curse that you have told us something about.
And
We found your witch, and as all right-thinking men must do, we put her to death.
you managed to kill the witch? And he kind of pushes himself up from his chair. She's dead?
It was not hard.
Was not hard. She killed my son in a single blast. She killed several of my finest men. And you say you killed her?
There are witnesses.
And Ivo looks at him and says, "It is true." He sits back down. She's dead. Well, that is a good thing and a bad thing.
It is a good thing, for it is an opportunity for you to address an old wrong, something that weakens your spirit, something that plagues you, something that would twist you so far as you would consider an alliance with that witch a right course of action.
An old wrong. And he takes out a dagger and kind of like chunks it in the table and said, "I would speak carefully. What old wrong do you talk about?"
If you are angry, you already know, and I need not sully the air by explaining. Come. Walk with us. Help us fight whatever it is which has cursed your land. Rise up above it.
You want me to go up to that spot, which I have forbidden any to go to. All that go there die or become back so twisted that all they want to do is put this village to the torch. And you're telling me that you want me to go up there and risk myself, risk that same sort of fate?
And we three will risk ourselves with you, and we shall triumph. You are the chieftain. You lead. You walk in front. You are light and hope and hearth to your people. You bear a sword. Bear it.
And he stands up, "Are you calling me a coward?"
No. I'm calling you to duty.
And he takes his flagon and just like hucks it against the wall and smashes it. And leans back down on the table with his back to you. And swears a few times. And looks back at Ivo and says, What have you told them?" And Ivo just simply looks like, I told them the truth. And there's a little, conversation back. The truth as you see it. The truth as it is. And just have a bit of an, sounds like they're having the same old argument that they've had, a million times. It has that kind of rehearsed, I go, you go, and they both come to the same impasse. It is true that she killed the witch in one blow.
And with
And
the
if I
light
do
of dawn, we can cleanse this place of its curse.
I will go with you, but you tell nobody of this. It is forbidden to go there.
The forbidding was done by you.
With good
To
reason.
be undone by you.
With good reason. And if I refuse to go, what will you do? Will you go up there yourselves?
You are the chieftain of this region. The duty is yours.
And he looks at you. Presume much to talk to me about duty. Who are you?
I am not yours to bid. My oath is not to you.
For so long,
I will make an oath with you.
Yes, Ingolf?
For so long, you have been stuck in this circle, back and forth. The same conversation over and over with your friend. The same cycle of raiding and killing and revenge and sacrifice. And nothing has broken this curse. The time for old bonds has come to be broken. The time has come for you to break your chains and liberate yourself and your people from this endless curse. We will stand with you.
He gives you this look, as if you're beneath contempt. Like, I can't believe that guy just spoke to me. Never mind that he said that what he said, but just that he just spoke to me. And and he looks at you like with this murderous rage in his eye, and then he slams his hand on the table and looks back at Ivo. So even the farmers lecture me now, Ivo. Even the farmers.
I am a knight of
Wrong
the circle.
is wrong, no matter what rank.
The knight of the circle. I will not be called a coward in my own home. I will go. But we will go before the light of dawn. Nobody will see us leave.
As you wish.
And so he bids you to meet him back here in, several hours, just before the light of dawn. And so the four of you trudge up the side of the mountain. It's actually a pretty established path. It's been overgrown. It's obviously,
No one's allowed to go there. There's this well-traveled path.
All right. Well, I mean, it's grown. It's
overgrown now. Yeah.
It's overgrown. Definitely hasn't seen use in a long time. But you can see, for a long time, this was the way up to Ward Hill. It's the idea. This is the way the sentry would go, or the people that would, pour God knows what on the hapless invaders would go. And little trees have grown up on the trail and what have you. But it's obviously, this is the way people went. So it's not like an unusual occurrce. Ivo just looks apprehensive. On the other hand, Werther is this mixture of enraged and is beyond apprehensive. Looks scared. But in a sort of bully sort of way. I'm not scared, man. It's clear that he's not really happy about what's going on.
You're carrying a deep burden in your heart, but a burden shared is a burden lessened.
You're a man of with a man of a silver tongue. Funny coming from a soldier. Has a tongue like yours, Ivo. And once again, Ingolf just seems to be like this piece of furniture.
Mm-hmm.
I feel so bad for you, man.
It's okay. It's okay.
You have the bad charm rolls.
It's working. It's working. So he's quiet because everything's working. So.
But he's not overly hostile to you either. It's just kind of like you're like a foot soldier.
Yeah.
And it's actually quite odd, the relationship that Ivo and Werther have. It's almost like a relationship between two gentry, even though Ivo really isn't one.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so getting up to
showing that Werther has the capacity to open his heart.
It is too late for me. All right.
There's still good in you. I can feel it.
Yeah. Oh God. All right. So let me get the good. Make sure I don't leave anything out. All right. The place starts to feel, there's nothing that's really going on. There's plenty of animal life. But as you're getting to the top of this kind of like flat, almost like mesa, if you will, the feeling is more of it's almost of like indignation and of rage, not from you, but almost like if the place itself has it. And you can see,
That's not good.
Yeah, you can see the pole. It's up the execution pole, and still upright. And been there for looks like the pole they've used for quite some time for executions. All the blood stains and everything are gone from it, but it's still It's still up there. And Werther is like slowing down. Like he's really just not terribly excited. And, you know, I was looking about like apprehensively. And Werther looks like, what are we supposed to do now? Gonna fight the curse? What should I do? Cut the pole down, light the top on fire? There's nothing here. And when he says that, it's very clear that he's wrong. You see from coalescing out of the air, this sort of like blackish grayish mist kind of coalesces, and it coalesces into like a human figure. It's translucent. You can see right through it. It's a big burly man, short cropped hair, just a guy with just giant arms, and he looks right over at Werther and says, "Oh, you come."
If a wrong has been done, if a curse has been placed, an apology, a heartfelt apology can break the cycle.
And he looks at you and says, "Burn it all. Burn it to the ground. Kill them all." And he puts his hand, and like a hammer materializes, like a blacksmith would use, and crush them. And he starts just constantly, repetitively, just whacking it. Flatten it all.
You can end this,
Burn it.
Werther.
What am I supposed to end? What am I supposed to do to this thing?
There's been enough death.
Anselm is ready to fight, but he really believes that Werther Ulrich should stand forward as chieftain and own up.
So Werther draws his sword and approaches this manifestation and looks at him and says, "Othar, I sent you to hell once. I'll send you to hell again." And he swipes with the sword and goes right through the midst of this thing.
That can't be good.
Because he is vain and proud and ruthless. And those are the words I wrote down on this little 3x5 card.
Nice.
And that's the kind of his personality anyway.
I feel it.
So this thing of mist and smoke has just had the sword of Werther pass through it, and the thing screams in rage, and it transforms once that happens, and it solidifies. He still looks the same, still looks like this human form, but bigger. It's about 7 feet tall now. It's just become this gigantic person. So 7, maybe 7'2", just highly muscled mockery of a human being. It's like just the muscles are like over exaggerated. The face is has turned from the face of a man to just something like more hideous, almost a caricature of a human face. But it screams in absolute rage. The sword passed through while the smoke coalesces, and this thing, just like howling with rage, stands before Werther. And it is time to set up the initiative tracker.
Mm-hmm.
Werther, what will we call Werther?
Let's call him
Well,
White.
I'll stand
White.
with him.
White. Oh, wait. Werther is... Yeah.
We'll make him a white guy. Yeah, we'll give him that.
Yeah, so we can save the 1 for the monster. And Ivo is going to need a number 2 just in case.
We'll make him number 6, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
He's
so,
a prisoner of this whole situation.
Yeah, he is. Okay, so Werther has a quickness of 8.
Ooh. So he's
We're
on...
tied.
He's on. So you roll 1d6, I believe, to break the tie.
Okay.
Let me double check that. But yes, if there is a quickness tie, roll 1d6 until you break the tie. Highest roll goes first.
I rolled a 2.
Rolled a 6.
All right, so Werner is
Off I rolled
up first. What's the Ivo's quickness?
Ivo has a quickness of 5.
Okay, and Othar the smith.
Oh, no, he's the one with the quickness of 8, the monster.
Oh, 8. So he's going first. Wait, so
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah.
so what's
Oh no, I'm sorry. No. I'm lying to you. I got confused. I got GM confusion. No, so Werther has an 8. You did it right. And the Othar, the hideous thing, has a quickness of, I think it's 6.
6?
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Okay, so I have a quickness of 7. So this is what it's looking like. It's Werner first, Anselm, Ingolf, the monster, and Ivo.
Okay. I just made this card for this damn thing, and now I've lost it. Hold on. I'll just make it again. Didn't know if I was going to have to use. Here it is. There it is. Othar. Okay. So. Silence. So I'm just waiting for Anthony to see what the does.
Gonna be interesting. Yeah.
Werther
Okay.
goes first. Werther goes first, and he's going to draw this hideous thing into a clash.
Werther. Okay.
Yeah. NPC combat. This is so terrible. But it is what it is. It is what it is. And Werther has the disadvantage just because this thing knows where it is. So the hideous thing is going to be rolling with a die itself. Let's see. Werther is going to roll and solely commit to that. Ooh, so let's say 16. So he's rolled a 5. He's got this quickness of 8. So he's going on full attack. So he's using all of his quickness that way because he's just so enraged by this thing. And that's a 21. Isn't this exciting to watch the GM do math between NPCs? All right, and in the meantime, the creature is also just going on full attack. Not going to defend at all as it's being drawn to this clash. And it rolls a 10. It's also just doubled its quickness, so 12 plus 10 is 22. So it actually, I believe in this case, it's actually won the clash.
The defense? No, hang on.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Whoever's going on full attack,
Yeah.
it's got the double the quickness as the bonus, but they all defend just with the die roll total.
Right.
So whatever
Right, okay.
the pure dice is the defense totals.
That's right. Oh, that's right. Okay, so the creature's defending with a 10, so the creature has to deal with 11 damage, and in the meantime, he has to deal with a lot of damage. He has to do.
Yeah, that's the margin of success, and then you add the brawn score to the margin of success, and then you split that evenly between quickness and brawn, and if the numbers are uneven, the higher number goes to quickness.
Right. Okay. So hold on. So the creature is dealing out with its brawn 25. He's dealing out 16. The creature has some armor. So it's taking a penalty there. 10. All right. So 5.
You're
15.
muted, Anthony.
Okay. That's cool. The creature's taking some damage. And
Sword is +1.
Oh, the sword is +1 to damage, right? Let me look at that. Sword, +1 point in a clash. Yes.
okay, cool. 1. All right, so the creature's taken damage, but is not down in the meantime. What is Werther taking for damage? He's taken 15 damage after everything's all said and done, because he did have a shield. And so that is... yeah, so okay. Excellent. And if there's a odd number, where's the
Quickness.
Where's the extra point? Goes to quickness. Okay. Werther slashes the creature with his sword, and the creature just takes him and rips him apart.
Ooh.
And rips him apart, just kind of just starts to pull his arms and then throws him off of the cliff.
Nice.
And his dead body, goes cascading down towards the ground below. Okay, who's next? They're both in the back of the line. They've both taken damage. They both gone. Well, and actually, you can just remove Werther because he's dead.
Yeah.
Werther's really at the back of the line.
Yeah, he's really at the back of the line.
Werther is down here because he fell off the cliff. Yeah.
Werther should have found penitence in his heart.
Okay.
Now there's nothing to free this creature but us.
From its pain and existence. Yeah.
And so, it's all you.
The next action of the creature, the implication.
Yeah. To declare.
Doesn't seem to, be satisfied and about to dissipate into the cosmos, or is it going to
turn and kill Ivo? Yeah.
It smiles. Yeah, just smile for a second. It looks down the cliff and sighs. It doesn't look like it's about to attack anybody.
All right. Then I shall attack and hope the greater reach of my spear will aid me.
Okay. You may do so. He still has the advantage because this is his home turf.
Okay. And he's huge.
He's enormous. All right.
Well, they're not loaded. 5 and a 3 for 8 is my roll.
All right.
And I'm splitting quickness evenly to attack and defense.
Okay. So this creature went full defensive. 9.
That's
Oh wait,
a 16.
you've pulled it into a clash again, is what you've done. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
That's gone completely defensive. And what's your final attack roll with the quickness
8.
added?
Plus 8 is 16.
16. Okay, so you beat it. You're 4 points over. The damage would be 4 plus your brawn.
Brawn is 8.
8. Okay. So we're back to 12 damage. Okay. So once again, 16. And what happens if our quickness goes to 0 but our brawn doesn't, Eli?
Yeah, he's I don't know the term. I think it's fatigued or something. He is immobilized. Wait, if either brawn or quickness reaches 0, the character is fatigued and battered.
Okay.
Hang on. If either reaches 0, but the other is positive, yeah. But there's something else that happens when it's 0. Hang on. No, I think that's it.
And they don't go into the negatives, if I recall. They just kind of hit 0, and that's
no,
kind of
they just stay there. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good. All right. Well, this creature is at 0 quickness, but still has some brawn left.
Yep. So I guess it's up to me to try and dispatch the monster. So Ingolf will also draw the creature into a clash with my chain mace. As it's being driven back by Anselm's spear, I rush in while it's distracted, and I attempt to smash it with my mace.
Okay. Go right ahead.
So I think it can either go full defense or full attack. It's two options. So
Right, it's going full defense right now.
okay, which is good because I'm going full attack, and I'm rolling an 11 on the dice, plus 14 is 25.
Wow.
Minus its defense.
Wow. Okay. Well then, yeah, you've attacked it handily. It's only had a defense roll of 8, all told.
Okay, so it's 25 minus 8 is what?
17.
17 plus
Plus your brawn.
is 24 plus the mace. I guess it's like a flail. Yeah. So that's it.
Well, explain how this thing impossibly dies.
So I think the chain mace just pummels the creature, and as it just caves in its head, but it also collapses into the mist that it used to be, right? And just smashes it down, and it just collapses into smoke and vanishes.
It does dissipate, and it just, I mean, as you hit it too, it just has this sad look on its face, and it's almost like you kind of like killed a kitten. It's got this sort of sad look as you pummel it to death. And all right, it's Ivo's turn. You realize Ivo has fled the coop.
Oh, he's gone.
Whoa. I'm going to chase him down.
All right. All righty, let's do a chase.
Ooh.
All righty. Let's see. He's split for a while, so he's not like right next to you. He's split during that combat, so you're going to start chasing him. So let's see. Do we have chase? There is chase rules someplace, right?
I'm looking at it. Well, is it still night? I hope not.
No, it's dawn.
Okay, cool. Because if it is, it's not good. Yeah. It's the running at night thing.
No more night
no.
chases.
We're not running at night.
No.
We're not running at night. That's a good thing.
Getting lost, weather and exposure, running at night, breaking objects, drowning, falling, fire, animals. I don't think there's specific chase rules.
Oh, no, you're doing a versus 12 roll. Every time that you try to stop a named character from doing something, you're doing a versus 12 roll. So I'm gonna say it's your quickness is versus 12. And you
Here's my roll.
All right.
5.
5 total?
5 on the roll.
Okay. Yeah.
Plus quickness of 8.
Oh, nice.
Oh, you chase him down. So how do you tackle this guy? What do you do when you catch up with him?
Yeah, I am tackling. I'm subduing him, right? So he's running. I'm chasing after him. I'm a spearman.
Mm-hmm.
So when we get close enough, then I trip him with the spear. He's going down.
Okay.
And then I hold him in place.
And he just looks up at you like kind of like terrified eyes. What are you doing?
It's over. The curse is broken. The creature dispelled.
You killed it?
Yes. Men, stand up. And
forgive me.
your duty now is to bear witness.
What if we're there?
He did not have the desire for repentance in his heart. Now his heart is scattered all over his land.
Oh, that was
You
poetic.
must heal this rift.
Yeah, he's
You
kind of
must
looking
bear
at you still
witness
like,
to the curse. You must bear witness to its dissolution.
well, how do we know it's over?
While he's busy pursuing Ivo and talking to him, Ingolf has stayed behind, and he's taken one of the torches that they used to light their way as they came up, and I'm setting fire to the stake on the hill.
Yeah. Alrighty. No, never mind. And it's lighting up on fire. And gosh, let's see.
I may have tripped a tripwire. Yes.
No, I'm just trying to think of what as you set fire to this pole, you're really close to the edge.
Uh-oh.
And you're noticing, you can just kind of glance down, you can see like the usual farming activity and what have you.
Uh-huh.
But you also notice there are a large number of the village's warriors kind of heading towards and going up the path that you went up. Not very much, but just a bit of the way. And some of them actually, you can see these little figures now. They're pointing towards the pole now on fire. And everyone's kind of looking at each other, and then you can kind of see as them like talking to each other. Look, and more men are looking up that way, and they can kind of see your figure, you suppose. Do you wave? Never mind.
I imagine that reigning chieftain parts alerted them to something might be awry.
Mm-hmm.
It's possible. It's possible. Okay, so in the meantime, we've Anselm on top of this guy. Imagine them having this entire conversation while they're both out of breath, and the spear on this guy's throat.
I get off him, and I extend my hand to pull him to his feet.
Thank you. Can't believe I panicked. I just saw that thing. It was horrible.
Time for panic is past. Time for leadership is now. It falls to you. What are you going to do?
Well, I don't know. I'll address the people. I'll let them know the curse is broken.
And
Well, I can't lead. I'm not a gentry. Somebody will have to. There's some left.
you have been Werther's second the entire time he was chieftain. You have been the visible face of his authority. You have been his right hand in all things. You already lead.
You think that I could lead the people?
The witch cannot be killed, except she can. The curse cannot be broken, except it was.
And he gets this kind of look, and he looks kind of inspired. And I'll need a sign. His sword. Is it still up there? It is.
Look up the hill.
So he
There's
grabs
fire.
he sees the fire, walks by the flaming post, and just like kind of looks in disbelief, looking at Ingolf. And you can see kind of like this splotch on the ground, not a splotch, but a black pattern on the ground where the thing kind of dissipated. Looks at disbelieving, like picks up this beautiful forged sword of the finest steel available. Yes, I will bring this down as a token. I could take my place. Who would challenge me? After all,
The sword. Was it earned or was it taken?
it was traded for.
Traded for?
We traded goods. You wouldn't believe how much the lizard meat fetches. We gave them quite a supply. Travels well.
If you say so. Break the cycle of deceit and revenge.
All right. Yes. A new alliance. Alliance with the King of Rolke. I will be... Yes, I think I can do this. And he seems all inspired and puffed up. So he starts to walk down the trail.
Back him up. Give Ingolf a hug.
Ingolf, are you going to share any of this information?
Wait, what information? Oh, yeah, I'd say the soldiers are on their way up. They have seen the fire. They will soon find that Werther is gone. And I notice Ivo picking up the sword. I say, pick up the mantle, but rule wisely.
The soldiers have answered to me in the past. They won't answer me again. And he actually looks really puffed up and proud and what have you. And as you finally make your way down this path, you realize that the soldiers really haven't gone up the path except near like the very beginning of it. I mean, everybody's still. It seems like there's kind of this line like you don't go any further. It's just forbidden to go here. And Ivo greets them with a sword and with confidence, and says, "Man, the witch has been killed, or the witch has been killed. The curse on the top of the mountain has been taken care of, and this real stirring, beautiful speech. And it's a shame they fill him full of arrows." And the one of the other commanders says, kill them all." And the men start to run towards you.
And
With spears
Run.
out. And
at this point, I'll say, run, Anselm. I'll hold them off. And I...
What? You've read the group rules, haven't you?
Yeah. But I die and come back in the next scene unscathed. So,
I run.
so
I run like the wind.
so maybe
And
I can give an advantage on that runaway roll because I.
Yeah, that's a quickness versus
That's awesome.
roll.
That's cool.
Even if it's not canon, I'm gonna give you an extra die. That's quickness versus fall with advantage because he's giving. Let's just make sure you actually get away.
Yeah, I charged them with my mace and shield.
Go ahead, Anthony. Go ahead. Roll for this getting away.
Rolling for getting away. Now I'm going to pay for those 12. You just watch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
3 dice. So you're ready for roll 3 dice.
Here we go.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
3
so
dice.
it's a 3.
Statistically, you can make it.
Never tell him the
2 on the
odds.
black die.
Uh-oh.
4 on the white die.
6.
3 on the red die.
Yeah, here we go.
And what's your
One.
quickness? Yeah.
8.
9. Yeah, there we
Oh,
go.
yeah, so
17.
You'd
Yeah.
have gotten away either way. So, and Ingolf, describe how that final scene goes down.
Ingolf just tells him, run, and then he goes and just charges the front of the line, and I think the soldiers are not expecting that at all, so I think they hold back for a moment, and Ingolf plows into the first man and takes him down with the mace, and then the others realize what's going on, and so weapons come in, and the spears are stabbing, and blood is flying, and he collapses to the ground on a heap, and then the rest of the soldiers leave him for dead, and or they actually push him over with a boot or something and realize he's dead, and then the rest scramble after fleeing Anselm,
Who manages to get away.
to get away.
And so, as the curtain goes down on this fine venture, the memory of this event, while it's a stunning victory for the Circle Knights in terms of defeat of adversaries, really against all odds, this is kind of a blight on the mark of Rolke. That line, this area of Spur, the relations it has, the bad taste in their mouth of the Circle Knights and what have you. This particular area of Spur bears animosity, and it's a shame because it's such a fertile valley, mountain valley, and such a defensible area. But this is not a region that remains friendly to the young king. The end.
Yeah, and a figure staggers out of the region in the tatters of a blue cloak with torn armor and covered in blood, and yet he still walks. He still lives. 'Cause he does have a gift. So
He does.
Anselm,
That comes.
Anselm manages to somehow stagger out of the region.
Oh yeah, Ingolf's awesome. Yeah.
Ingolf, not Anselm.
That I never thought of making that a last stand kind of shtick.
Well, yeah, for a reason, right? It's not done. I'm just trying to help Anselm go. So
Yeah, I think of like every great movie scene where a guy holds off people and just takes a million wounds,
that's a nice post-credit scene, right? You see the guy staggering, all bloody, and the tatters of the blue cloak, which is Ingolf's blue insignia, right? The feature. You don't even see his face; you just see him staggering down the road the next day.
Nice. So what was
the ending?
tripwire?
Doesn't really imply. The ending states that we hit some tripwires.
Yeah. I guess we did.
What was the tripwire?
Going to the hill.
Yeah, it was going to the hill. It was literally written if they go to the hill, and Werner knows about it, or what the hell?
Well, he definitely knew about it.
Werther.
Yeah, he knew about it, but that's the way the tripwire is written.
Yeah.
So I figured, at that point, he instructed his men, this is what I'm going to go do, and you're going to kill them when they come back down.
Cultural thing for 20 years, you said? I mean, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
What was the other tripwire?
That was it. It was a one component
just
venture.
one component.
It was I rolled doubles, so it was actually rolled 6 for Squick, and so it was the kind of you didn't get to see as much of it as I thought you might, but just the idea they're sacrificing their own children to this.
That's pretty squicky.
I rolled Spur, for Spur, and then because I think it was double 6 means Spur. I forgot what it was, and I rolled just one component, which was Ravage interference. The next die I rolled too high, so you can't add anything else. I have to tell you the lowest numbered, which is 6. I think in a Ravage interference, and then because I rolled doubles, the highest number component is doubled. So it was like it was like one of those things where I look at I can't not bring Feist in, because how often are we going to have that?
Yeah, that was great. That was great, actually.
And then I had the thing on the hill. And you guys actually made it pretty, got away pretty unscathed, and it was just because of dumb luck and how you handle things.
Luck.
Right.
Luck. You don't have to add the dumb to it,
No, well, you'll like to say, because when you see the video, the preparation video, which turns out it's only 23 minutes long.
Not half an hour.
But I listened to it because I recorded that so long ago. I was like, but it was neat to kind of hear what was in there. Yeah, you'll see that had Feist done something, your life would have sucked, and actually, a couple things she could have done, but your life would have sucked right away.
Yeah.
And it was odd because you ended up going, because of Werther, and the named characters ended up going to the hell with you.
Yeah.
But that was really kind of a charm roll thing, and the fact that you sort of shamed them.
It's kind of interesting because I wouldn't have taken that tack at all playing any other character than Anselm. He has these two traits of bravery and the romantic. He believes he's, one of the protagonists in this grand sweeping epic.
Right.
So it never even really occurred to him that Werther Ulrich would reach the top of the hill and fail. In his head, he's seeing the man, subjecting himself to judgment, and I will redress the wrongs that I've made. And well, it didn't quite turn out that way.
Yeah. Well, do we know what the creature at the top of the hill was?
No, I read it so long ago, I just forgot.
That was a haunt.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, no, and a haunt. Actually, it's funny. Like, you guys just managed to. It would have gone much differently with different dice rolls, because a haunt is, it's somebody that swore an oath, or oath of Urbaja, upon their death, and then when it meets people, it tries to get them to do what it wanted. It wants to do. In this case, he just wants everybody in the village dead. He wants the whole village to be put to the torch, and so if people mock it or deny it, then it turns into this horrific monstrosity and attacks the offending person.
Nice.
And quite literally, as soon as the offending person is dead, their next action is to revert back towards the spirit form, in which case they're completely unable to be hurt.
Yeah.
So quite literally, had you guys not killed it, it would have gone back
Just
to that
gone
form.
And the curse would not have been lifted. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, nothing. I think there's like one spell that can kind of dispel them, maybe like restore or something like that. Other than that, they are. It doesn't matter. Like even if the entire village gets burned down, they're still not done. They really can't be put to rest, except by, I think, restore.
Nice.
So kind of a horrific enemy.
I think it was an interesting exercise playing Ingolf, but I didn't do the shy demeanor, because I figured, I tried to let Anselm do the talking, which seemed fitting because it also coincided with the charm rolls. But I also figured, he's already frustrated from this whole debacle back in the mountains with, going to the place where the gentry was, the ancient stronghold, and not really being able to effect change, right? I remember that episode as being quite frustrating for Ingolf. So that was I thought he would overcome his shyness in favor of that. So
well, it was great. It was great that, like, in that scene where they're talking, he says that, like, awful stuff, like really stuff that, like, I would, if you were anyone else, I would kill you where you stand. But he said it after, he went last. Like the kind of description of Shy is, he talked, but he went last, and that was after Anselm had kind of thrown the first few punches. He comes and says, "Oh yeah, by the way." So I thought that was kind of fitting, for him to kind of speak up then. That was kind of neat.
Even the peasants are talking back to me now.
Yeah.
I love that part.
Yeah. Any other thoughts come to mind off the top of your head? Of course, you'll make wonderful videos.
Yeah, I'm thinking if I should say something now or leave it for the reaction video.
I'll tell you, to be honest with you, I expected it to be a TPK. Just based on how things could go. But there is also that big advantage to going first, helping Braun to go first. That you can often turn the tide of battle pretty fast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Having played a magic using character previously, and knowing the capabilities, I really, really, really wanted to incapacitate Feist as fast as possible. I was willing to commit to any amount of resource drain, to make that happen. And I know that someone like Anselm would just be shaken in his in his boots. He's got 2 spells and so that was a neat feeling. And then to succeed, to have the dice smile on that endeavor was nice.
Right. It was interesting because she was less powerful than she was last time, because the character with the most points was less powerful. So she actually had less quickness than she would have had.
Yeah, I love that.
Less brawn than she would have had, and I think I hit her wits or something like that. But she's not quite as much of a threat as she was, or she wasn't able to didn't have quite as many resources available to her. It wasn't by much, but it was something. Yeah,
all the spells.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and she just had some awful abilities too.
But I really liked that she showed up again, and that she had changed. There was enough there to be the same character, and there was the change to reflect the time that had gone by, I think it was wonderful. And the change in her life circumstances from being sort of like this woman in power in the previous village to now being, basically an outcast in the woods, and very wild, very feral. That was a very good development and setup for that. So I think that was wonderful.
Yeah, I had fun with that. I just imagined her being harried by coyotes for some indeterminate period of time. And he just won't stop hounding me wherever I go.
That was fantastic.
While she's at the same time becoming more and more crazy due to just Rabaja, because they get nuttier and nuttier, and so I'm just thinking, between those two circumstances, she just would be completely nuts and a very different person by that time. Still nobody you wanted to mess with, But that was cool. It's kind of interesting. Like on paper, you wouldn't think that the Knights would have pulled that off, because I really, really expected things to go very horribly.
I liked the feel. When we were playing Hadric and Kai, it felt like we were experts of different colleges or something like that. There was respect, there was camaraderie. We're members of the circle. We'll fight and die for each other, but there wasn't a lot of warmth.
Right.
But I don't know. There was something about the idea of freeman and peasant. There was a different relationship. Both of these guys are men who have turned away from things in the past, and they're trying to find a way to fit in the world, fit into a better world and help other people fit into it. And the odds against them are ridiculous, really.
Yeah. And
yet they persevere. I think that would bring a certain connection with it, and that Ingolf would willingly lay down his life. I mean, even knowing that you're going to rise again, it's not going to be easy to be hacked apart. And what are they going to do to me while I'm dead and incapacitated? What horrific things? Am I going to wake up underground with my arms and legs shattered? And
Yeah, I think it was a greater feeling of camaraderie, of comradeship, right? I think it has to do with both being martial characters as well, right? There's this feeling of, fellow soldiers in a battle, right? It feels more connected somehow, as opposed to maybe the wizards, who are a little bit disconnected from they have the hand-to-hand combat training, but it's not who they are. I think, in a sense, there was also a wider gulf between the priest and gentry, right? In Kai and Hadric, and this feels less, from freeman to farmer, right? Freeman to peasant. It doesn't seem that wide of a gulf. Particularly given that the peasant also has the martial training, right? At least the basics of it. So I think they felt closer by their very nature, right? And we also play to that.
And their
Right.
weaknesses interact well with each other, where Ingolf is shy, willing to take second place, and Anselm is kind of a stickler for formality and rank, even though he knows that it's time for all of that to pass away. But he would just prefer that, higher rank be afforded some dispensation or comfort or benefit. And Ingolf isn't going to stand up against that, and Anselm's not going to push, and it just automatically falls into place. It's kind
Right on. And it was kind of weird too. Or interesting because these two named characters that I put in there, outside of the third one being the witch herself, I decided to have this friendship, even though they were, literally two classes apart. So it was kind of unusual. So that kind of was a interesting way to have you all together in this one spot, because Anselm was equal to Ivo's rank, and then Ingolf is a circle knight, so it's a sort of interesting thing to do. Oh, Eloy, we did it. I didn't have you roll 2d6 to find out if you really raised from the dead.
Oh, I need to roll. Yeah.
It's a brawn versus 12 roll.
Brawn versus 12. What's my brawn? It's 7,
Seven,
so
so you've
I
got to
need
roll
a
at least a
5.
five.
Yes, I roll a 9.
Okay,
So,
excellent.
yeah.
Good. All right, so it's official. It's official, Ron. We didn't miss that roll.
Official.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good
Okay,
thing.
good.
Good thing. Yeah.
We made it.
of.
Yeah.
Eloy's up next.
Yeah.
Eli's-
Gotta start rereading rules and
Yeah.
making rolls. So I'll
Yeah.
get on it as soon as possible.
That was the funniest thing, that when I rolled that up and I came up with I'm going to put Feist back, I started laughing because the one character that would want to go after her, it would be Kai Ernst, and Anthony can't play him. I mean, he can play if you wanted to, but I'm like, yeah. I
It
thought
would
it
have
was
been
kind
really cool to see him there and see someone else,
Right.
bring
Yeah.
all of his weird, combination and traits together.
I probably
So
should have done
I
that.
found when I
But
played
yeah.
him, he was like a souped up motorcycle. As soon as I said, okay, we're playing now, it's like, holy crap,
Yeah.
this character wants to go.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, I probably should have played Kai because I wanted to, but I figured,
it's great.
this just a temptation of just going the magic user way, right? And it was like, I really want. I want no options. I want to be able to only solve problems with weapons. So, because I've done the wizard a couple of times already, and it was like, if I do it again, it's like the third time I played the wizard out of 4 tries. So I figured, let's go with Ingolf.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of this relationship now between Kai and Anselm. Now it's like, you son of a bitch, you killed me. That was mine. That was my kill. Sorry, man. Listen, what do you want?
Nice. Well,
You snooze, you lose, pal.
the next time is going to be interesting because all the characters are out there now available for play. So you have a nice pool. The only thing Anthony can't play is Anselm.
Right.
So there's Hadrick, there's Otto, there's all of them are there.
I can't play Ingolf. That's about it, really. So that's.
Oh, that's the
he was-
last
he
one
was
you
the
played.
last
That's
one I
right.
played,
Yeah.
So those
Interesting.
are my limitations. All right. Well, this is a blast, guys.
Yeah.
It came back a lot. I, for whatever reason, despite the fact that there was this big long hiatus. To be honest, the rules and everything kind of came right back when I looked over them, and then I knew where we kind of had screwed up before in some of the combat sequences and stuff. And I remember just reading a couple things and refreshing. It took me a second to remember, but that idea that a lot of times when you want to do something against a named character, it's literally a quickness or a quickness versus or a versus 12 roll, depending on what attribute it is, and then you actually do it.
That was pretty good. Yeah.
Once I thought about it.
There's one thing I think we should remember, and that's while our Circle Knights were lucky, they got good die rolls and came out on top in the combat. The Gentry character, the High Marshal character, Werther Ulrich, what was his fate when he went up against the Haunt? He wound up being torn into 2 pieces.
Yeah.
Right,
that.
that would have been one of your fates.
Right, exactly. I mean, that the wheel of time
Yeah, I mean, literally, you guys survived due to psychological warfare and getting this guy to go up there and getting him to take the. Well, I mean, if you hadn't taunted the haunt, you probably would have been fine too. But like, I mean, literally,
True.
you used him as the human shield. Get it, mad.
Go get it. Go get him, Ray.
It's not what I said.
I know. Apologize, and there's no way you would have. I mean, I really had to sit there and think long and hard. What would these guys do? And then, like, okay,
Yeah.
that's what they would do, and they were kind of bound by that, and especially by the charm wall. They saw you as like a. But I mean, literally, the funny thing is the last. Even Ivo knew. Like, literally, they said, "Okay, when these guys get down, kill them. They've gone up here, and we'll be exempt." And Werther's like, "I'm exempt," and like I guess they decided that. Werther's dead. Those were the last orders to us. Ivo is clearly just as a traitor.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes
kill
sense.
him, and because that was a tripwire. So pretty much you get the army is like going to be hunting you down like dogs.
Nice.
But, nice.
So
There was no chance of them saying, "Oh yeah, it's a good idea." They really wouldn't.
yeah.
It
well.
was what it was.
So it was an honorary TPK almost.
Yeah.
Kind of.
That's cool.
Exactly.
I loved it.
Nice.
Right. Excellent.
Excellent.
I
All right.